It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of those resources that are necessary to execute that huge, big vision you have for the people you are called to serve. And on this episode, we have one of our amazing returning guests, the one and only Barbara Beckley, who today will be talking about purpose and visibility for your business. What's going on, Barbara? How are you?
Hey, Mr. Shay Brown. I always call you Mr. Awesome, Mr. Wonderful. So glad to be here. So glad to talk to your audience about visibility and purpose, because those are the two, to me, the main focus and foundation for what you do in life.
I agree. Now, is it purpose and visibility or visibility and purpose? I'm just curious. Which one is it?
No, it's really purpose and visibility. I always call it now. I have it. It's called PPD in my book. That's my signature: purpose,
It's
passion,
called,
and
what is it?
drive.
What's it called?
PPD. So it's purpose, passion, and drive. And within that, the visibility has to come out of it.
Okay. So take a moment and talk about what purpose means to you and why do people struggle so much, or what is their struggle to find purpose? Because I hear it often. People say, well, I'm trying to find, my purpose and I want to walk in my purpose. And I'm like, okay, well, what does purpose even mean to these folks?
hmm So I always tell people that when you are doing something that you love, that no one can stop you. The hurricanes and the floods of life comes in, and you're still like, but I still need to do this. It's not something that I want to do, but it's something that I have to do in life. Prime example for me. I knew that I need to make sure that I'm helping women, especially women, have a voice, because I didn't have a voice when I was younger. I was really bullied, heavily bullied. I mean, they called me, Shay, an alien from the ages from 6 to 10 in school. And I'm just not talking about just one classroom. I'm talking about in all classrooms, they were talking about me badly. You were ugly, you were fat, you were this, you would never go nowhere. I don't even know why you go to school. And I knew right then and there that, first of all, I was like, well, what am I even doing here? I mean, that was because it was all the negative. But it took, and I always say the angels in your life came in, and there was a teacher that sat down and gave me the diamond story. And that diamond story helped me understand that in life, you're going to go through what the cuts and the heat and everything. But eventually, it's going to make you and mold you into that person that you are, that you truly are, that what's your purpose in life. Now, people always say, well, purpose changes through, when you get older and everything. I say, we all going to change because we're getting older. From the age of 20, I'm not the same from age of 20 to now that I'm in my 50s, but I still have that main foundation of making sure that I'm out there helping people get that voice, get that visibility, understand who they are deep inside.
Yeah. And you mentioned PPD, I think you said. So it's purpose. And what's the second one?
Purpose, passion, and drive. Your
Okay.
PPD. I
Talk now,
call
now
that your
talk a little about a
foundation.
passion if you can now. Talk a little about passion. And as you're listening at home, I mean, one reason I want you to lean forward and kind of tune in because she's connecting purpose and passion. And think about right now, what's your purpose? And think about how you're walking in that purpose. And think about how folks know that's your purpose and how you're making a difference by being in that purpose. Okay. So, but now she's going to talk about passion. Now, of course, Barbara, the question obviously is define passion and how is passion different than purpose?
Yeah. So purpose is what you're ingrained in, what you really believe in, what you will not move from. I always tell people, no one can stop you from your purpose. I don't care what they say, what they do. If they say, well, Barbara, you can't talk about, women. I say, you know what? If you won't let me talk about helping women, I got to go somewhere else and do it, or I got to create my own platform because that's what my purpose is. Now, the passion is what drives you, what pushes you. When you have passion, like say you're in a relationship and you just look at that particular person who you're in love with and you just have those Google AIs and everything. You should have the same type of sense when it comes to your purpose. I get up giddy. I mean, just this morning, I was up at 6 o'clock talking about, okay, who can I interview? Who can I help to make sure that they're on target with their business, that they're showing visibility? It just, I have a burning sensation inside. And that's what should happen with everybody through your purpose. So that's why I say you got purpose, then that passion that just gets you going. And then, Shay, the drive, the D, PPD, as I said, the drive, just like in a car. You got to put gas in the car to go, right? So the gas to go is making sure you understand what your purpose is and passion. And what I mean by that is going back in time and seeing everything, your stories. You know, we always say your stories are like your remembrance of why you do things. So, I mean, me, just real quickly, being bullied, sexually assaulted at the age of 20, having cancer at the age of 45, going through a really just my foundation with my dad that I lost at the age of 17, and he was murdered. So I think of all that, and that's my gas, because I say, you know what, people need to hear what I have to say with my purpose and the passion for it, so it can help them and it gives them hope. It's all about that. So that's the gas that drives me every time I think about, wait a minute, I went through this. Who else is going through this in the world? Who else can I speak to? I dealt with this in my life. Who else can I speak to? That's that gas. So that's why I call it purpose, passion, and drive, because that's your foundation. So anytime you think to yourself, well, why am I really doing this? Or why am I in business helping people maybe play golf or whatever? I mean, I'm just throwing something out there. Well, maybe that was a passion of yours. If it's not that passion, or excuse me, it's not purpose, passion, and drive, then you need to rethink that. Because when the hurricanes come in your life, and you're like, I don't even feel like dealing with this right now. Then you got to think of like, okay, is that really my foundation? Because you shouldn't have to second guess anything. And I know, Shay, you get up every, you help people so much with the sales and everything you do. I can't even see you not doing that. You know that drives you. You got a passion for it. So if somebody told you, well, Shay, you could never do this again, I know you probably look at them like, no, this is what I'm built to do. What are you talking about? And what do? You build your own. And if you can't be in a seat with somebody else, you build your own platform, because you have to do what's ingrained in you. That's just part of life and what you do.
One of the things that make I believe this unique and different, because I know there's an old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there, does it make a sound, right? And I know that's one of those questions that we can go around and debate probably the whole day. But it leads me to the fourth part that you have. You got the purpose, you got the passion, you have the drive, but it's the visibility. And I want you to talk to the entrepreneurs for a moment. The dualpreneur that's out there that works a full-time job and they're a full-time entrepreneur. And this whole, well, here's the first question. Why do folks struggle so much with visibility in a time with social media, in a time with so many different platforms, with streaming devices, yet they're still struggling? So what's the challenges they have with visibility?
When I talk to people, Shay, about getting out there in the social media or being on video or doing podcasts just like this, I always ask the question, I said, is your purpose, here we go again, overrides your fear? If that doesn't happen, then you're going to be struggling. And I'm just putting it out there. We're going to be just really just put it out there. You have to, that's why I said you have to know your PPD. You have to understand it, because a long time ago, just 12 years ago, I was the shyest person. Probably Shane, everybody's like, what? Yes, I was the shyest person because remember, I was bullied. I was dealing with that in my life. But then I told myself, I said, okay, Barbara, are you going to sit back and let your purpose die because of fear? Or are you going to say to yourself, do you want anyone else to feel or go through what you went through? See, that's when that extra lift came and said, no, I have to do what I have to do. So if I got to get on camera 6 times by myself and look in the mirror and say, okay, I got to keep talking until I get used to being on camera, until I get used to putting little posts in social media of what I do, I have to do that, because again, what's driving you? So you have to understand, is your purpose overweighing the fears, overweighing the struggles, overweighing the learning on how to do things? Because if the fear is taking over, then you got to question again, what is your true purpose? What are you doing what you need to be doing? Because if it's so easy just to say, well, no, I can't learn, or you know what, I don't even like social media, or I don't know what to post, or what kind of content I should put out there. It always starts with your purpose and your visit and your drive, your purpose, passion, and drive, because it starts there. And then that creates the foundation where you say, yeah, I am going to go on live social media and talk about what I deal with or what I went through. I am going to sit there and go on some podcasts and talk about my story because I have to do. It's not something that I'm like, I don't want to do. It's something I have to do because it's something that's ingrained in me to do it and pushing me towards it.
I love how you do that. And now folks, as they're listening, they're wondering, what's her backstory? They understand where the drive came from because you shared that. But they're like, what has her journey been like? Like, number one, what's her origin story? And I guess if you was on the other side, you'd be like, well, who is Barbara? You've given us a sneak window into like where the passion and purpose come from. They want to know, well, who is this person we're talking to, Shay? And what was her journey to get her to what she's doing now? Did she just wake up one day and it all worked out for her? So take a moment, if you would, and take us behind the scenes, by the way, and tell us about who is Barbara Beckley.
Well, you know, it's funny, Shay, when people always say, well, did you just wake up, just start talking about this PPD thing? I'm like, no, this was a journey. This was a journey. And the biggest journey for it was, again, going back to when I was 17 and I lost my dad. That was the day, that was my turnaround point. That was my transformation. And I know we all have that. So with that, getting a phone call from in my household, because at that time, my mother and my dad was separated. And I was living with my mother. And when that phone call came in, and my mother picked up that phone, and they told her, the police told her, that my dad, not only he was murdered, but he was in his apartment for 5 days before they found him. 5 days. My whole world collided. Because he was the one that would always tell me, Barbara, you are a diamond in the rough. You're my princess. He gave me the bear hugs. He always pushed me over and over again to say, I don't care what anybody says to you. You are special, and you're going to be something special when you get older. But it's going to take that time. You have to take that time to grow into it. You have to look at yourself and say, I know I'm beautiful. I know I'm smart. He would tell me that. But when that loss happened in my life, and I looked at myself and I said, Lord, I don't know what to do now. He was my cheerleader. He was the one that was telling me that I was going to be who I was going to be to help others. And I still don't understand that. But it took, when I was going to almost commit suicide at the same time that I found out about that, they took me to the hospital and they said, you're under a 72-hour suicide watch. Within that time, Shay, there was a nurse that came into that room that she had to take, you know, the vitals and everything and check on me. And at that time, I was thinking about it right then and there. I said, I am going to just go. I'm going to take my life right now. I can't do it. No one, I'm not important. People still talking about me, saying I'm this and I'm that. And when she came in that room, Shay, she turned around before she walked out that door and she told me, she said, something is telling me, I don't know you that well, Barbara, but something is telling me that the person that passed away wouldn't want you to do what you're thinking about doing, because it's something saying that you're a diamond in the rough and you're here for a purpose for others to give them hope. Shay, when that was said to me, that's what my dad used to say to me, that I was a diamond in the rough. She didn't know my dad. She didn't know anybody. She didn't know me. So I knew right then and there, that was that transformation. That's when I knew right then and there, if I didn't do it for myself, Shay, I was doing it for my dad at the time, to say, no, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to have this voice that I know I have inside of me. And I'm going to make sure that every person, especially women, have that same voice and get, here we go with the visibility, and get the visibility after they find out deep, deep what their PPD is.
Deep, deep, deep. And not to take you back for a moment, but for the person that's watching right now, that's like, wow, Barbara, I'm kind of where you were. I mean, we're going to talk to two audiences. We're going to talk to first the person that's like, they have some mental, let's call it mental health challenges going on right now. And there's a lot of negative thoughts in their mind, in their brain. They're doubting if they can do it. They've tried some things before. It hasn't worked. There's been such a roller coaster. They're like, I got to get off this freaking roller coaster now. and they might not have the person coming into the room. You're now that nurse that's walking in the room and talking to them. Take a moment and stare into the camera. And what would you say to that person that's right on the edge right now? And what would be your words and maybe 3 steps that they can do, not only to get help, but to get back on track? Because you've been there.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is that I want to say before anybody that I love you and I care about you. I know you're like, you don't even know me, you haven't even met me, Barbara. Who are you? But somebody has to say that to you right now. And I'm telling you that if you're watching this right now, that I love you, I care about you because you were born in this earth. I tell people every person that was born, you was born with a uniqueness gift. That's where that purpose comes. If you weren't, think about it, if you weren't on this earth, there's a purpose for you because you were born. You are here in this world, in this earth. So you have to get that established in your mind first because it's all about a mindset. And I hate to say mindset. A lot of people say you got to have a mindset, but it's really a mind flow because if you put a mindset there, then you're going to be set in thinking, okay, I got to take my life. I got to, end it. But we had to take that type of mindset out and put something new in there so you can have a mind flow to say, I love me first. It has to start with that. And then what I would say is you need to get around individuals that like what you do, that discovers that, they have that same type of purpose or something that they like to do like you do, and get around them and say, you know what? You are my tribe. You are people that understand where I'm coming from. And then the third thing you want to make sure is say to yourself, it's okay to feel bad sometimes. It's okay to scream and shout to the rooftops and say, you know what, I'm just tired of this. Because once you release that, then things can come in positive to help you grow and get you on that level of that mind flow of moving forward. So love you. Love you.
Love you.
Yes.
Thanks so much for sharing, man. I appreciate the transparency. Now let's go over to the business owners out there. The business owners listening right now saying, I need visibility, Barbara. I need visibility, Barbara. More folks need to know who I am. I'm doing some good things. I think there's a saying somewhere that says, I know it's overused, but it's so true that you're rewarded in public for what you practice in private, right? And they're like, I've been practicing in private, Barbara. I put my time in. I'm like Daniel. I'm like David in the Bible, right? I've been fighting these lions and bears. I'm ready for Goliath. Bring them on. Bring them on. What would you say to those entrepreneurs that are leaning forward now and saying, how do I get visibility? What's the next step for me, Barbara? Give me the 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing I would say for the business owners is you need to define and communicate your purpose. It all goes back to that. Put your purpose statement and stick it wherever you need to stick it. I have it all over on my computer right now, in my bathroom, in my mirror, because that has to be grinded in. So you got to define and communicate what your purpose is. So make sure that you have that purpose statement in front of you. And it shouldn't be a long paragraph. It shouldn't take that long to say what your purpose is, because you do it every day. You get up, like I said, inside of you. And then once you do that, everything you do from that point, from creating content, from going out talking to people, from being on a podcast, you're going to take whatever you do with your business, put it with your purpose, and talk about that. So if you like doing video editing, that's a purpose of yours. You love being creative. You love putting together storyboards. That's what you like to do. So every time you're talking, you need to define that. And then you communicate that through what you do as far as being on social media, as far as being on podcasts, as far as doing advertisements. Because if people don't know those two things about you, then it goes back to why are you sitting on what you are meant to do in life. That's why I always tell people and my clients, I was like, you don't need to sit, because first of all, you're discrediting yourself when you sit on your own purpose. And then second, you're being selfish. And I know you're like, what? She's telling me I'm being selfish. Yes, you're being selfish because what your purpose does and what you do, what you create in the world, what you love, other people need that. People are waiting on you. People are waiting. If you're a video photographer, video editor, people are waiting for you to create those commercials for them, or there's promos or whatever that need to do. People are waiting for that. And if you're sitting back on the sidelines, then that's not good for yourself and it's not good for others. So the other thing I would say is create authentic, be authentic, be authentic, always be authentic. Real quickly, Shay, I want to say this because this will
Sure,
help.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So going back to my dad, as I told you my origin story with him.
Yeah.
So a few months ago, Shay, some just told me, we always say, some just told me. We all kind of know what that is when we say something just told me. But, I always say it's God for myself, said, Barbara, post that. I need you to get on live. I need you to talk about what you went through with your dad. And I was like, okay. I don't mind telling my story because one thing about me, I can tell you anything about my life because I always say that's going to help others remember my purpose and passion and drive with that. So I told the story. I went online, Shay, told my story about my dad, told the whole thing I was going through, the whole problem with, taking my own life and everything. And I left it there. Now, some people say, okay, I'm on social media. I'm telling my story. Now what, Barbara? Well, 2 days later, I get a message in Messenger on Facebook from this lady, this young lady. She's like 20 years old and didn't know me. I didn't know her. She texts me a message. She says, Barbara, three or four people shared your video that you did a few days ago. And at the same time that I listened to your story, I was about to slit my arm and just give up on life because she was abused, is going through a lot in her life. And she said, I just want to end it, Barbara. But when I heard your voice and you had she said, the courage to tell your story live, she said, I stopped. And I said, well, if she went through what she went through at the age of 17 and still now she's doing what she's doing, then maybe at me, I can do the same thing. And at that time, Shay, she told me that she joined college. She's taking up copywriting that she loves to do, that she found that she loves to do. And she's going to be graduating, in the next year, in the next term. So because she found out she had other credits and she just really researched that. So I'm saying all this because of a social media post that I put that I'm glad I listened to what I needed to do, reach somebody else. And you see how that helped somebody. That gave somebody hope. That stopped somebody. That stopped the person from stopping their purpose from shutting down because they was about to take their own life. Now, I know that is one story, but there's many other stories that I can tell you, not just with me doing something like that, but other people that I know have posted and been out there and been authentic and engaging with people that help one person. Because I always say, if you can get that one person, I'm telling you, Shay, if I don't reach anybody else, that story that I told you about that lady will always be in my heart and will always tell me I need to keep doing what I'm doing. That's that gas. That's that drive that I said, yeah.
So well said. Thanks so much for sharing. Very powerful. Who's been a mentor along this journey for you? I know you had a lot of mentors. This is my favorite question to ask. I wait for this every night. I know y'all wait as well, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You get to tune in. If you subscribed on YouTube, welcome. You can go over to YouTube, just type in at I am Che Brown and subscribe, right? And if you're on the podcast, cool. Thanks for being here. Maybe you're on on-demand streaming platforms. But I love to ask the question, like, who's one of the mentors, one of the lessons you learned, share it with you, the audience, so you benefit. You get to meet her mentor. You get to take the idea. You get to benefit for the rest of your life because Barbara Beckley's going to pay it forward. She's talking about purpose. She's talking about passion. She's talking about visibility so you can do the things you want. So who's been a mentor along this journey of your life, and what's one of the philosophies they've shared with you that you're now going to share with us?
Well, Shay, I really have two, and I'm going to make it quick. For our first mentor, as always, my dad. He's always mentoring me with his wings. I know he got his wings when a long time ago, and I always think about how he always ingrained in me to be real, be true to yourself, be committed, and believe in you. So I always had that written down, and I always say dad's mentoring uh, notes for myself. So that's when I always ride on whatever I do. The second mentor I have is a lady. Her name, when I started Toastmasters over 13 years ago, I joined that organization because at that time my mother just passed 6 months. And 6 months after that, I joined Toastmasters because, again, I still didn't feel like I had my voice. I still wasn't speaking. I knew what I wanted to do, but then I wasn't talking like I needed to. I wasn't understanding how to network and how to be out there and be visible. When I joined Toastmasters, I'll never forget the first day when they were up there speaking. And I was like, okay, that's what they want me to do? I don't think so. I'll stay in the back and I'll watch everybody else. And this one particular, my mentor came to me and she's like, well, she's soon to be that mentor at the time. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm sitting back watching. She said, you going to do that for the rest of your life? I said, huh? When she said that shit, it was like this, like, popped up in my life. Said, I said, well, she said, okay, well, while you saying well and thinking about that, we need to get you to understand why communication is the key. And that's what she taught me and showed me and guided me through those 12 years. And still, I'm in the organization today. I mean, I've been leadership. I went through the rank in the whole organization to the point of being in a district level leadership. So I went from sitting back in the back saying, I'm not going to speak, I'm not going to be up there, to speaking in front of like many people, important people. So those are my mentors. And that's what told me to say to myself, okay, Barbara, you're trying to help people with their voice. You're trying to help them with their visibility, but you got to do the work too. See, that's the other thing. Is one thing to sit there and say, I'm this purpose, visibility, social media strategist. But if I don't have, and I didn't go through it, or I didn't deal with it, or I didn't learn things, then how can I tell you and how can I teach you that? So it's about always being committed to your purpose, always about learning and growing. It's always about connecting with others. And I want to put a shout out to Shay Brown here because we connected a few years ago. And first of all, I was like, this phenomenal celebrity, because I always look at him as a celebrity. But never say that you might not be able to be in the room with a person that's a celebrity. Because as soon as you say, no, I can't do it, that's when it's not going to happen. So you got to put yourself out there and say, why not? Why can't it happen? Well, and this is
Wow.
where I want. This is what I want to drive to. So I had to start saying that, and look where I am right now. So
You're
yes,
rocking and rolling. We're peers. I love it. You're amazing and you're freaking incredible, by the way. You really are. We have a segment here called Today is My January 1st. And for those folks that are tuning in for the very first time, welcome to the family. We're going to explain what it is. For those folks that are here every night at 11 p.m. and you wait to say those words, you go ahead and say those words now. I release you. Today is my January 1st. Happy New Year to you. For the new folks, today is my January 1st represents a do-over. It represents a fresh start. It's our personal mantra here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show that our past, no matter what the past has been, it no longer equals the future. So today is your January 1st. You don't have to wait till December 31st on the back of a napkin to claim January 1st. It happens now. My question to Barbara Beckley on the other side is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And what's your words of encouragement to inspire someone that's watching right now?
well, today's my January 1st because I am so excited that I'm always the thing I always say, the purpose and the visibility. So I'm going to be starting in a few more months my own channel where I'm going to have where people are able to do their own shows, to be just like what Shay's doing, to come on and do what their purpose is and be out there telling people, having people on guests, whatever you want to do. And I said, I need to get to the next level. I said, okay, if I want people to move to the next level, I have to move to the next level. So that is exciting for me because it gives people more visibility. People are like, oh, Barbie, you got your own channel. I'm like, you know what? That's all well and good, but it's not about me. It's about making more opportunities for others. And with that, like Shay said, what would something that I would tell you right now? Believe in you. Believe in you. And if you have to listen to, your favorite, because I always have my favorite speakers that I listen to, and something that pulls you to say, oh, I have to move on this. Listen to that. Be around people that are going to uplift you. If you even hear for the first time that somebody's downing you or doubting you or saying you can't do something, I want to say right now, let them go. Let them go. Because it's detrimental to you in what you're trying to strive in your life when you have those people talking in your ear saying, no, I don't think you could do it. I tell people all the time, I want to get to Oprah status. I don't have no problem saying that. There's been a lot of people looking at me saying, what are you talking about? As soon as I see them say that, I'm like, oh, well, you're not on my journey. Gotta let you go. But I do it in love and I pray for them. But I can't let them get in my mind like that because I don't need nothing stopping me. Because remember what I said, it's not just me, but it's stopping others that I'm trying to help. And if I let that get into my ears or let that get into your ears, then you don't need that stopping your potential purpose.
I love it. Says so well. Thanks so much for sharing. What type of clients is your firm taking on these days? And how can folks best connect with you over and beyond this conversation?
Well, the type of clients I'm looking for is any type of entrepreneurs that really need help in getting their visibility out there. If, like I said, if they're looking for something to get on a podcast, a show, I have many shows. And like I said, I'm creating a channel now. So I'm looking for any entrepreneurs that really wants to get their voice out there in any kind of area that they're working in. I usually look for people years between 30, not excuse me, 3 to 5 years because I know they started somewhere, but they still need that extra push. So any entrepreneurs that are looking out there, and in order to contact me, is basically I always just say go to Barbara J. Barbara Beckley 95 at yahoo.com. And we can talk, we can have those one-on-one talks so we can get you out there and get you people looking at you because it's so important what you do. They need to know that. You need that visibility.
Said so well. Thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you, the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. You know, without you, there is no show. You have a lot of options, but you tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come into the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're releasing episodes as fast as possible. You can head over to YouTube and just type in at I am Che Brown, at I am Che Brown. With that being said, I want to remind you, and I never get tired of it. I wait to share this. I mean, every day I wait for this one moment to let you know that you're incredible, that you're awesome, that you're amazing, that you've got greatness inside you. And for you, your best is still yet to come because today is your January 1st. Isn't that kind of cool? So with that being said, my name, in case you forgot, is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. Remember, time is long. Life is short. You got to live in that moment. Well, you got to make it count. God bless, and we wish you success. Thanks a lot, Barbara. We appreciate you.
Thank
Peace,
you.
everybody. We out of here.